Welcome, listeners, to another great episode of Sirens of the Supernatural. This is Rhonda with Lindsay, my daughter and co-host. Hey, Lindsay, how's it going in Virginia today?
It's going. How's
Tonight?
it over in North Carolina?
Well, it's stormy over here. It's a dark and stormy night.
You got the whole vibe set over there.
Yes.
It looks dark and stormy over there.
Yes, and as you know, tomorrow's the 1-year anniversary of Hurricane Helene. So a lot of people are getting a little nervous about all the rain that's headed our way, and then the storms out in the Atlantic, which, you know.
So I think all next week it's supposed to be rainy here at least.
Yes.
And it's been kind of bad weather. And that's been on my brain this past week because I knew that the anniversary was coming up, but I didn't know like if we had another storm coming in or if it's just rain passing through, hopefully. Just a little bit of rain.
Yeah, hopefully that's all we'll get. We've already had some rain, and so your dad and I were noticing as we were driving this evening before it was dark that some of the creeks are high, and I just hope that all the work that was done in the aftermath, the culverts, the new culverts and all that were put in, bridges, that everything is fine. But we're going to think positive thoughts.
Yes.
So, listeners, you'll see that we're missing Ryan tonight, but he will be back with us next week. He really was bummed to have to miss this episode because we've been looking forward to this for a while now. So, tonight's guest for our September Spooktacular series is Aurorah. She's an artist, writer, and producer who's been studying Western astrology since 2008. She's the voice behind the Blood Moon Milk podcast and the daily newsletter, The Daily Dose, where she offers fresh, practical insights that go far beyond traditional horoscopes. Her work blends ancient astrological wisdom with modern mindfulness, helping people use lunar cycles to set intentions and stay grounded. And we can't wait to hear from her, so let's go ahead and bring her in.
Hi, thank you so much for being here, or for having me. Oh gosh.
Thank you for
still in podcast mode.
Yeah,
I did that.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yes. We appreciate it. And now you're in North Carolina too. You were saying. Okay.
That's right. Yeah. And you mentioned the 1-year anniversary of Helene. And it's funny, the little town I'm in was right in the eye of the hurricane. And so we had I wasn't even there, like here when it happened. I was traveling out west and I was like, oh, there's a storm. And then I start seeing the social media and the posts coming in. And I was like, oh gosh, but apparently like I had one twig on my deck.
Oh, wow.
That was it. Even like, but everything around us, I mean, was really bad. Really.
Wow. Yeah, I think people here have some PTSD from that.
I mean, it was amazing to see footage of the mule packs going into the mountains, and that really, I mean, that's just the best way to get into some of those places. It is like by the old fashioned.
Exactly. And people got a real taste of, and some people for the first time, especially, the younger people, got a taste of what it was like not to have electricity and running water and be able to communicate like they are so used to doing. And it was a scary time. It really was. The Cajun Navy came to our county here in Western North Carolina, and it was amazing to see. Even, four-wheelers couldn't get to where they were going. And we just had so many people that, helped and pitched in, and the community was wonderful. And then people from outside the state and outside the community. It was heartwarming to see people helping people like that in today's, modern age.
I think that is the silver lining of horrific, tragic events like that, catastrophic weather events is that you can really see the mettle of the communities that are affected. Yes. And I think North Carolina is such a special, beautiful place. I've only lived here for a few years. I'm a Georgia girl from Atlanta originally, but I moved up to North Carolina 2 years ago, and I often say where I live specifically might not have been the place I would have picked, but it's where I landed, and I fell in love with the place just unexpectedly. Didn't expect it to happen.
So what made you, Carolina? What made you relocate, come up here north a little bit from Atlanta?
My whole life fell apart.
Oh no!
Oh God!
No, I mean, like it's okay. I mean, I swear it's like the makings of like a Hallmark movie or something. I had a job where I was a TV producer at a big local station in Atlanta, the local ABC affiliate there, and they let me go shortly after my father passed away. And then my relationship of 4 years ended with a guy who I was friends with for 20 years. And so it was like the relationship was gone, the job was gone, the reason to be in Atlanta was gone, all within a 2-week period when I thought I was about to get engaged and get married. And that's really what I thought was about to happen. And then life was like, nope. And I was like, well, I'm moving to my dad's old house in North Carolina, and I am going to go to grad school and figure it out.
Wow. Good for you, though. Good for you.
Yeah, right off the bat, that tells us that you're a very strong person, because that's a lot.
Well, you just have to. Like, you don't, you just don't have a choice, when, I mean, and I could have stayed in Atlanta. It might have been easier in some ways, but it was just like time for a change of scenery. Yeah. And I was in North Carolina a lot while I was taking care of my dad while he was on hospice. He had suffered a stroke during 2020. So he had a sort of long, slow, rough road to hoe at the end there. But this place has become like this beautiful, magical, quiet, peaceful place for me to really root down and learn how to create something that fills my heart up and inspires me. And if I can inspire myself, I hope that I can in turn inspire other people and gain momentum and create something that lasts.
Amazing.
Wow.
I have to ask you, did you, when all of that was going on in those early days, the aftermath of all of that, did you lean on astrology to help you through that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So one thing that I know that happened, and it's funny. So before we started recording, we were talking about eclipse season. We're currently in the tail end of eclipse season now. It's Friday, September 26th when we're recording. I'm not sure when this will go out, but I heard that thunder.
Yeah.
That's a good one. But so eclipse season 2 years ago was on the Libra Aries axis. And I have some sensitive stuff in Libra and Aries that was hit by that series of eclipses. And so did my ex who it ended with. So it was almost, in some ways it felt fated. Like it was either we're going to go left or we're going to go right. And it just didn't work out. Right. So I had to go on my own, and my south node is in the sign of Libra, which means that partnerships and diplomacy is very easy for me. My north node is in Aries, which means I am destined to have to carve my own path and put myself first, which is actually very difficult for me. It's just not the way I'm wired. But it's what the universe is asking me to do. And so that did help in some ways to kind of soothe those very raw emotional wounds that from, reality, but it helped. It definitely helped.
Well, that's great to hear. I'm so interested in everything you have to say, not only, about yourself, but your journey and how, if when you actually started diving into astrology, was it more recent or was it when you were younger?
So I would say, I've kind of told this story a couple of times, but I feel like I just need to say it as often as I'm asked, because I don't think it's actually repetitive and it's sort of vulnerable. I have memories of being a little girl, and I mean like 2 years old, and talking to my dad, and I was outside like playing in the mud, making mud pies. And I was really sad. I was just like feeling this real profound sense of like disconnection from my home. And I mean that in a weirdly sort of spiritual existentialist kind of way, because I was at home on this planet at that moment in time. But he came up to me and he like picked me up and he was trying to comfort me, and he was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "I miss my home." And he was like, "Well, we are home. What do you mean?" And I was like, "No, I'm from up there." And I pointed at the sky, at the stars. I mean, it was daytime, but I was like, "I'm from up there.
Right.
I'm not from here." And so I think there's always been a part of me that has identified with the cosmos as being my home and having the sense of wonder about it. And I've always loved ancient Greek mythology and the way that people made sense of the world through stories and legends. And for me, astrology, Western astrology specifically, is so intrinsic to that, that it just made sense to combine astrology with mythology and then using that to kind of marry some more new age principles like meditation, manifestation. And that's what blood moon milk astrology really is rooted in. It's using the cosmic cycles to find a sense of alignment so that whatever is going on outside of ourselves really is something that we can participate in or not at our own chosen speed, and we're not necessarily victims of circumstance.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
It does. So you felt this as a kid, and then as you got older, what was the turning? Was that your turning point of like really diving in and getting to know all that? So how did you go about doing that?
I think I kind of knew about astrology like on a very surface level kind of way. Like, I grew up reading Cosmo and reading the like, silly horoscopes. If you're a Sagittarius this spooky season, you want to more adventurous new college. And I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. But I didn't really think of it anything like in any more real depth than it's entertainment until I was in college and I was at like a cocktail party for a friend who was a lot older than me. And she was like, "Oh, what's your Venus in?" And I was like, "What's my what in? What?" And I really had no idea. And so this was like back in probably the summer of 2008 or so. And so she went over and like grabbed an astrology book off her bookshelf, and she was into a bunch of different stuff. So astrology for her was just kind of like one of her many flavors of interest. I mean, she was into cooking, she was into music, all different kinds of cool stuff. And she like looked up my planets in an ephemeris. And she was like, "Oh, you have Venus in Scorpio. That's a cross to bear." And I was like, What do you mean? And like, I was just like, sort of like a light bulb went off for me at that moment. And I was like, oh, so all the planets are in a different place. Even though I'm a Sagittarius, my Venus is in Scorpio. And so that got the wheels turning. And then I found some podcasts, and I had a reading by a professional astrologer. And, I just kind of, that sort of started me on this mission that became more than a hobby. It really is sort of a calling. And I just absorbed everything I could find about astrology in my spare time when I between classes at school, between parties, because I'm a pretty social person. But I was just absorbing it and kind of filing information away for my own personal use. And it was another 10 years before I felt confident in offering what I knew to others. And that's when I started the podcast.
Wow. So it sounds like what she said really piqued your interest. And when you had your professional reading done, was that enlightening?
It was, but it was also kind of the guy who did it, and I don't want to say his name or make him feel any sort of way.
Right.
You know, the guy who did it, I don't think he was, I think he just was reading something, reading
gotcha.
Something that was generated and not necessarily intuiting. And I later found out from another astrologer that guy actually kind of took a bunch of stuff from him. Anyway, there was astrology guys doing stuff, and I was all right, well, okay, let's be better than that. So when I read a chart, I give people all this stuff that because there's astrology programs that generate written documentation of what the signs and aspects in the houses mean, but I spend time with people. The written material really is a bonus that they get to go read in their own time. What people pay for when they come to me for a session is my time to talk and to ask questions and my expertise and my experience with what I've seen happen with other clients. And I think that's what the value of working with an astrologer is, one-on-one, versus going to something like ChatGPT or going to an app. You're getting.
I was going to say there are lots of apps.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's a lot of apps and some are better than others. I don't love them, but I don't hate them either. I think there's a place for them in the world, but nothing beats a really good connection with an expert in their field, regardless of what it is. You want to go to a cardiologist to look at your heart. You want to go to a lawyer to have your legal affairs in order. And you want to go to your astrologer to help plan your life. So it's the most effective use of your time, because your time is your only asset you can't make more of.
Yes, that's true. And we're in the Bible Belt, okay?
Oh yeah, I know.
And so I was going to ask you how that's impacted you, because I know growing up, I heard, the older generation warn even against reading your daily horoscope in the newspaper. And so for me, when I first got interested in astrology, it was a little bit of a battle inside, because I had to, but I'm the kind of person, I have to research it if I'm interested in something. And I started learning that it's not all this taboo stuff. It's, it's how what's above is affecting what's below. And you can use that to an extent for guidance. And it really opened my eyes to a lot of things. But I still have people that say, "You're having an astrologer on the show," And
that kills me.
You would be surprised. I get asked to be on a fair number of podcasts, and there is a show that I'll be going on again, re-guesting on soon, that is run by a bishop, and he is all into astrology. He's very open-minded, but also is upfront about how it is talked about being used in the Bible. And I think I come from the school of thought that anybody who tries to separate individuals from their spiritual power is actually out for personal greed and gain. And that anybody who is trying to connect people with their spiritual power is actually on the right track. Because we all have this life force, this light inside of us that is cosmic light on some level. It's what brings us all together. It's what brings us life, you know? And so I think in a way that's the essence of the cosmos. And if we can tap into that inside of ourselves, that is spirituality. That's divinity. And I mean, in some like religious circles, you could call that Christ consciousness or enlightenment. And it's something that is a conscious, continual effort. As long as we're in earthbound 3D bodies, we have to live earthbound 3D lives. But there's nothing wrong with tapping into the higher self and looking for guidance that's reflected to us in nature in some way, because we're part of nature.
Agreed. That's an interesting, I like how you word that. That's a very interesting take. And I hope that if people are listening to this when it airs and they're skeptical or they're, that they will just kind of put that aside and be open-minded enough to, hear what you're saying. And I'm just so excited about you being here. I am going to ask you though, how did you come up with the name Blood Moon Milk?
Oh, so it goes back to eclipses. A blood moon happens during an eclipse. And a lot of times in ancient civilizations, blood moons were feared because they often brought about dramatic changes. There could, and sometimes depending on aspects with Mars to the eclipse in the moon or Pluto, even though they didn't really know about Pluto back then, it could really be quite dramatic. So it was this like sort of feared event. And the milk comes in with ameliorating the fear. So it's the tonic that you give to a child to help them ease off to sleep. So it's taking the fear out of the chaotic event. So that's the idea. It sounds really dramatic.
That's cool though.
I like
that is
it.
Really cool. Yeah. I totally get it now.
yeah. But it's meant to be a soothing balm to the frayed nerves.
No, I like that. That's a good, very creative name.
Thank you.
Now, how long have you been doing the podcast, Aurorah?
So I started the show back in 2018, and I have to say, I really liked doing it more back then. Podcasting has changed a lot. And what I used to do was I would play music on the show, and it would be like part DJ show, part astrology show. And the songs that I would pick would have to do with what was going on with that full moon or that new moon. And there were less people in the space back then too. But now I can't play music anymore because royalty stuff is like, the algorithms have gotten so good that they're like, oh, this is copyrighted music. You don't have the license for that. And so there goes that fun. So, I mean, it would be a dream if I could get syndicated and do it and have a library of music I could pick from, but it's just probably not going to happen. So now I look at the chart and I kind of give people the rundown of what's up, and I do the daily dose. And I like, it's just not as, and I like to have guests on the show too. That's a lot more fun for me than just running through the planets, because the planets are, to me, I mean, like it's like, okay, well, it's like there's 9 planetary bodies that we're looking at on a regular basis. And then there's some asteroids that are interesting. But it's like, okay, well, it's Libra season again, you know, like,
Yeah.
Like now, what do I talk about? We've talked about Libra season for how many years now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The outer planets change, and that's interesting. And this year specifically is such an interesting year astrologically. And I posted on my TikTok at the beginning of the year that this year was going to be the year of the most change of our entire lives. And I mean, you know, it just is the case, you know. And it's because all of the planets are changing signs, not just the inner planets that we're used to seeing change, but also the outer planets.
Oh, so okay.
When we have that much movement, you know, as above, so below.
Wow.
And I feel like we're definitely already seeing
a
lot of change this year. A lot of change.
Yes. And I will say we're in the midst of the hard part right now. I do think that things will continue to change this year and on into next year, but things will get better. And we're already starting to see some stuff get better, but it's hard to see that from our perspective in this country at the moment.
Yeah. I agree.
But there are positive changes that are happening in the world that we're just, because of the way our media is, especially right now, we're just not hearing about the positive stuff happening in the world.
It's just all the bad stuff. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Well, now you said that you're still continuing to do the podcast, but I get the feeling that you really enjoy, the part that you enjoy the most is doing personal readings for people and helping people.
Yeah. I mean, and it's funny because like I never really started out to be an astrologer necessarily. Like, I started out like doing the podcast to teach people how to meditate with astrology. Because I wasn't good at it. I was not good at meditating. And so I kind of it's difficult. It's difficult.
It's so hard.
And it's a practice, right? So don't, just like yoga or anything that you show up to on a regular basis, it's okay to be perfectly imperfect at it. Because it's just the practice of showing up regardless of how you're feeling or if you're into it that day, that makes that muscle stronger so that when you really need it, it's there and it's not such a heavy lift. And that's the same for me with astrology too. I write the daily dose. Like every time I sit down to write it, I'm like, okay, I've got to do it. Even if I don't feel like it, you know, I haven't today. It maybe barring like one day that was like the day my dad died or something like that, since I started the Daily Dose back in 2018. Now I've missed podcasts before. Like I've missed my own show, like just this last week because of family stuff that was going on. But like for Daily Dose subscribers, like they're always getting their morning letter from me every morning, 5 days a week. And on Fridays, it's the weekend edition. So that's
very cool. And so people can subscribe on your website, right?
Yeah. It's I think it's $7.99 a month. And it's just like a couple paragraphs of the lunar, or like not lunar necessarily, but whatever the major transits are for the day. And so if you're a client, you know your chart, or even if you're not a client, you know what your chart is, you know what your sun is in, or you know what your moon's in, you know your rising sign. You can read the Daily Dose and learn a little bit about astrology every day.
Okay,
I like that.
cool. And that's also, the website is also where people can go and schedule a reading with you.
Yep. Just head over to bloodmoonmilk.com and they can book an appointment there. If they don't see a time available, they can email me. The email's Aurorah@bloodmoonmilk.com, and Aurorah has an H on the end.
I love that. I like that name. I really do.
Yeah.
And when I was, you had asked us to send you some information about us so you could give our listeners kind of a little taste of what, you do. And I was like, oh man, I was born in Aurorah, Illinois.
I read that and I was like, oh, I love that. I've never been to Aurorah, Illinois, but I feel like I should go for a couple different reasons.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember it. I was a baby when we moved back here, but but I thought it was interesting. So when you book an appointment and that someone reaches out to you and they say, you know, I'd like a reading. How long does that usually take you to research and then with them?
I need at least 24 hours heads up before I am happy to see them because I have a life. And, and I just want to make sure that they're getting my full attention. But so usually, like, unless you're an existing client, I'm not going to be able to see you that day.
Yeah.
But if you send me an email and you're like, hey, I've like just heard about you, I've got all this stuff going on in my life, I'll try to get you in as soon as I can. And really all I need is birth information, which is on the intake form when you book with me. So it's the time of day, the date of birth, and the location. So that's all I need. And I can just pull up a chart and look, because I've been doing it for so long now. I can just look at what planets are, excuse me, what planets are transiting the houses, what's going on. And then I kind of like, that's all I need to sit and start talking with somebody and being able to kind of tell them what's going on. Like I'll give them bullet points like, well, Saturn's in the second house right now, so money might be tough for you at the moment, or whatever that particular person's set of circumstances are. And then we look for the bright spots. You know, we look for times of opportunity to capitalize on and to prepare for, to make the most of. And then I also give people a heads up about difficult dates when I see really like hard transits or hard days. I'm like, okay, these are the days that I want you to circle on your calendar. Don't be afraid, you know, but like just be very careful when you're doing stuff on these days and be mindful. So that you're not in a car accident or something really like chaotic or catastrophic. I also give all my clients transits for every single day until their next appointment with me. And that is like the daily dose on steroids that's tailored just for them. And that is really helpful for people. And that's included in the price of the reading.
Wow, that is awesome. Do you find that you get more like first-time clients or more people that have been to, you know, have been into astrology and have been to other astrologers?
Mostly I get repeat clients, people who come back and have like people who come see me like once a year, or they'll come see me quarterly. And that's my favorite because that gives me enough time to get to know them. And I have a regular sort of clientele basis with them and they look forward to it. It's kind of like quarterly therapy. I can help them sort of, they tell me what they want to do, like if they want to travel or they want to go somewhere. I'm like, okay, well, let's look at Mercury retrograde. Let's look at the transits and your charts and help you plan your next trip or your business venture. Something, you know, like those kinds of things are what astrology is really helpful for in terms of planning your time.
Right. And do you do that like over Zoom? You do it virtually?
Yep, I do it over Zoom. Occasionally, I'll do in person, like events. I just did an event on the 8/8 portal. I was in Manhattan in New York, and I did a sound bath meditation combo astrology session. That was a lot of fun.
Wow.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. That's really cool. Well, we're going to let you talk now and tell us a little bit about ourselves.
Yeah, so let's look at Rhonda first. Let's look at mom. So I have your chart drawn up. Do you want me to, can I share my screen? Can I show you what I'm looking at the chart? You can see that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, great.
Oh,
Wow.
So this is your chart, Rhonda. And just to make sure I have the information correct, it's April 20th, 73, 9 p.m.?
April 20th, 1970 at 9 p.m. Yeah.
Okay, let me change the date real quick, and then we can look at it. So 70.
Yeah, 70.
I always think this is so interesting, but then, and I like want to look into it, but then when I look into it, it's just like there's so many different moving parts, and I don't know what to look at first. You know what I mean? Like I don't know where to start.
Yeah, help us break it down, because it does look very overwhelming. Like,
yeah. So okay. So the first thing I'm going to look at is your rising sign, and I like to start with the rising sign because while everybody identifies typically, if you're new to astrology, you're like, oh, I was born in the month of Sagittarius or Scorpio or whatever. So I'm a Sagittarius or a Scorpio, but it becomes much more specific and tailored when we have that birth time, because the rising sign changes every 3 minutes, like the degree, which is it's at. So it's very, very specific. So that's why it would take somebody, I think it would be like 20,000 years for somebody to have the same exact chart. It would have, it's that specific. You can have similar charts. And so, Rhonda, your information is actually on the inside wheel here in peach. So you can see that here. And so your birthday is, April 20th, 1970, which makes you a Taurus at 0 degrees. So super Taurus.
Okay.
And that is the steady Eddie, like loves comfort, loves all things sort of predictable and methodical and beautiful, can definitely work really hard, but can also really enjoy the finer things in life. Often gifted speakers. Taurus rules the throat chakra. So I'm not surprised you're doing a podcast, like using your throat chakra to communicate. But your rising sign is interesting to me because your rising sign is at 28 degrees of Scorpio. So what is it that you like? You might actually, in Scorpio, there's only 2 degrees of Scorpio in your chart. So most of that first house is colored by Sagittarius. So what do you like? Sagittarius is also adventurous and philosophical, and it likes to explore. It's curious, and oftentimes about religious stuff, but also can be highly psychic.
Oh, that's interesting, because I have always, throughout life, been, you said curious, and that's me. Like if I want to know something, I will just dive in, but I have to have like all these projects going at the same time. So I'm learning lots of stuff at the same time about different topics and subjects. And I don't like for my mind to be bored.
So that's really interesting because Neptune, if you notice this sign here, well, it's right here, in sort of this Triton here, it's at 0 degrees of Sagittarius. So you have 2 things in your chart that are at 0 degrees, which is incredibly magnetic, incredibly powerful for those positions to be in. But Sagittarius energy is a mutable sign, and mutable signs tend to be a little bit scattered, whereas like cardinal signs can be laser focused. They have a goal, they work towards them. Fixed signs where Taurus in your chart is at 0 degrees of Taurus, where your sun is a fixed sign. It's the fixed earth sign. It's ruled by Venus. So there's this like tendency to do things in a very predictable way, but at the same time, your personality is probably spread a little thin. Like,
yes.
Maybe lots of pots going at the same time, but you've got it under control. You know what you're doing.
It's like a constant conflict though under the surface too.
Yeah. I could see that. But you're a creative person by nature. And part of that creativity is expressing yourself by making other people comfortable, or at least making your home comfortable for your children, and cooking good meals. Like, food's probably a passion, I would imagine also.
Like, I like to eat it. I used to really love to cook. But what has happened is I've gotten older.
Palates change as we get older.
Yeah. And my husband has he works from home, so he's kind of taken over the cooking. And so I don't do much, but when I get in the mood to, I really can go to town on that. So that's interesting though.
Yeah. So the rising sign, back to the rising sign here at 28 degrees of Scorpio, that is the sign that we look to help dictate where all the houses fall in a chart. And if you see these like numbers on the inside of the pie slice here, those are the house numbers. So this is the first house, this is the second house, third house, and it goes counterclockwise all the way to the 12th house down here. And so when astrologers are like, oh, like Pluto's transiting your second house, where it is right now for you, by the way, creating some tension probably in the house of values. So it's likely that since Pluto began its journey in your second house, which was a while ago, because your second house starts at the beginning of Capricorn, which is a good place, a really good place for the second house to be, by the way. But Pluto is transforming the way you think about your values. And a lot of times astrologers think of the second house, the house of income, earned money, and the way you earn money. So we've been on a journey of transforming the way you earn a living for quite a while at this point. And it's soon going to be done, but it's not going to be done for another 3-ish years. So there's still some work for Pluto to do there. But think back to, let me see, I can't even remember when Pluto moved into Capricorn, but I bet, let's see, I can tell you real quick if I look it up, because you might be able to just like jog. 2008, November 26, 2008. And that was a while ago. And it makes sense in a lot of ways for there to be a lot of changes in that period of time. But think back to 2008 and then think back to where you are now and think about the probably pretty dramatic changes that have come up and happened. And you're like, what are those like, if you want to share?
Well, in 2008, I started a whole different career, and I've been like on stepping stones since then. Like, this job opened up a door for the next job, and that opened up a door for the job I have now. And I also got 2 degrees, and yeah, it really has been a journey since 2008, but 2008 is when I got into the communication field, actually. So that's really
interesting.
Wild. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Pluto is the most powerful planet. And I know scientists at NASA and astronomers would beg to differ and say he's not a planet. But from an astrology perspective, Pluto is a planet and he definitely counts. And he's the slowest moving. And so with it brings sort of this glacial, irreversible change wherever he is traveling. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. We look at him in astrology as the Lord of Death, but death is often fuel for rebirth. And so that death is transferable transformation from one thing into something that is often much more powerful at the end of that journey.
Wow, that's so interesting. There's so many things on this chart. I'm just looking at it like, wow, I'm going to have to.
What do you have a question about? Because I'm happy to answer questions.
Okay, one question that I have is, they say that April 20th is on a cusp of Taurus and Aries. And I know that Aries is not similar to earthy, stable Taurus. And so when I looked into that and I learned that, and I started reading a little bit about Aries as well, because I had always only ever looked at Taurus, and I started looking into that, and I thought, this makes so much sense, because I have this one side of me that's very, like you said, stable, predictable, all of the things. And then I have this other side that comes out sometimes that it's just like, I want to shake it up and do something new and go somewhere new.
I would attribute that less to Aries and more to Sagittarius in your first house. And I know your rising sign is 28 degrees of Scorpio. So a lot of Sagittarius, or a lot of astrologers out there would say, oh, but she's a Scorpio rising and she's a Taurus sun. But I am looking at the whole, the dominating energy of what's happening in that first chart. And you have the entire sign in that first house. The entire sign of Sagittarius. So you've got 1.5 degrees of Scorpio, which can give you this intensity and maybe this secrecy when people first meet you or encounter you. And it can definitely color your appearance, but there's more energy, especially with Neptune at 0 degrees of Sagittarius in that first house too, drawing out that curiosity, that vivaciousness, that energy, that optimism that comes from Sagittarius. And I'm speaking so lovingly because I'm a Sun and Sagittarius person.
Okay. So I don't know much about Sagittarius. I've never really looked. Yeah.
Read about it, because I think there are probably things that will come out in the course of learning about Sagittarius that you're like, oh, this makes so much more sense than maybe Aries, because Aries is impulsive, where Sagittarius is, it's not so impulsive. It can be, but it's really more like so Aries is aggressive, and Sagittarius can be aggressive too, but it's like refined. There's a refinement to it, where it's more attuned to the higher. It's like they call it the house of God in religion sometimes, but it's also like education and international travel as well. So it's a really complicated sign that sort of, it's half animal because it's half horse, and then it's also half intellectual, half higher mind. Combined, it's like an embodiment of two opposites. And so it's kind of an interesting symbolism.
Yeah, it is interesting. Wow. Now I know I've heard about so your rising sign and like what your moon is, and explain the moon part a little bit.
So your moon is here at 23 degrees of the sign of Libra. And you're a girl after my own heart, because I have a Libra moon too. And yours is in a different house than mine is in. But Libra moons really look to make things beautiful in the world. They have a sense of like they want things to be nice, and they just like the finer things in life. Where Taurus does too, and so does Sagittarius. So like I'm guessing they're like things are nice at your house. They might be. I would say the one thing about Taurus is that it can be a little bit of a pack rat. Like it doesn't like to get rid of stuff necessarily. I just saw Lindsay's face, like because there's this sort of perspective of like, oh, I might be able to use that for this thing one day, and so I'm not going to get rid of it. And so it becomes clutter versus decor. But like it's a good thing to let things go in a clear space and let new energy flow in occasionally. Would be my advice there. But it's also you have Jupiter at 1 degree of Scorpio, right opposite your sun. You have a really interesting chart.
What does that mean?
Well, so Jupiter just makes everything big. And it's in your 11th house, which is you probably have a really big social circle, or you just know a lot of people. There's a big community. You get a lot of fulfillment and emotional. Your moon's there too, so it like really, it might change a lot. Like there might be a lot of people coming and going in that social circle on a regular basis, but you're used to it, and it's like kind of on a big scale, like bigger than most people would be comfortable with. But you thrive in it, I think.
I do. Yeah. COVID was like my worst nightmare, having to work at home. I was like, I wanted to go to the grocery store just so I could talk to people.
Yeah, COVID was rough. Like the astrology behind COVID was really interesting to me too.
Oh yeah, I bet. But that is so true. I'm very social. I like having lots of friends, all different kinds, of knowing all different kinds of people. That's interesting.
And you've probably been even more social lately in the last like 2 weeks or so than normal.
Yes.
Because I'm going to say that because Mars is here at 3 degrees of Scorpio, he's just gone over your moon at 23 degrees of Libra, and then went over into Scorpio a couple days ago and hit that Jupiter just earlier this week. So you've probably been a little bit busier socially, having more commitments, and there might even be like a masculine bent or just like a flurry of activity to some.
Yes, I just recently this past weekend saw friends I haven't gotten to see in years, and then this week, a few days ago, got to see some of my friends that I haven't seen in months. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Neat.
So yeah, that's like just a little kind of peek at what astrology, the way I practice astrology, does. So shall we look at your chart, Lindsay?
Yeah.
And waiting so patiently.
Sure. I'm nervous.
Why?
Nervous.
I don't know.
I'm just gonna move stuff around. There we go. Oh, sorry. One more.
So that's what transits mean. It means when that particular planet is moving in a specific direction through a house, or okay, I never knew that.
So it's the transiting planet. The planet is actually in transit all the time. They never stop. The stars, the planets never take a day off. And so that's what we mean by transits. Is like, think of them like they're on a little train around the universe. They don't really get off that track. Like the track like can do some funky things now and then. Like, for instance, currently Pluto is doing something called being out of bounds, and he's going to be doing this for a little while, for about 6 months every year for a few years in the foreseeable future. And it kind of ramps up the energy and the intensity of Pluto's already very intense energy. But I think it's a really good thing because so Pluto has been transiting through the sign of Capricorn since 2008, as we refreshed ourselves earlier when I looked up when Pluto moved into your second house, right? So Pluto in Capricorn is all about consolidating power for top-down entities and like businesses and government structures. Well, when Pluto moves into Aquarius, that gets flipped upside down. So we're seeing Pluto's energy now energizing the people, and the individuals are taking back our sovereign rights as citizens. but it is a journey. It is a slow journey, but we're at the very beginning of it now. And there's a really interesting astrologer who's done a bunch of work and research on what happens when Pluto goes out of bounds. It can either go north or south. And she's realized that when it goes north, one kind of thing happens. And then when it goes south, another kind of thing happens. And when it goes north is when authoritarian regimes rise. And when it goes south, I believe it's when it goes south, that's when people get their power back. Wow. And so we're getting this double dose of Pluto being in the sign of Aquarius, but also he's going out of bounds to the south. So people are going to get, and I'm getting chills as I'm saying this, like, because there is so much vitriol and loud media about authoritarian power in the world at the moment, but it's being loud and controlling because it knows it cannot control its grip for much longer.
Yeah. I would agree with that too.
Interesting.
Love to hear it.
Oh gosh, I mean, like, if it was, I'd be like,
I'll say it. Love to hear it. Love that for us.
I mean, like, I know sometimes it doesn't seem like it, but we are on the pendulum swing all the way one direction, and now it's starting to swing the other direction, and but we're at the very beginning of that journey, so it's still a journey, but it's happening. So Lindsay, let's look at your chart.
Okay.
And I haven't looked at it before now. Let's make sure, first of all, the date and everything is correct. February 17th, 93, Colorado Springs, 12:10 a.m.
Yes. That's me.
And that's the time your spirit chose to come into this life and begin this journey. And so you're also a Scorpio rising, but you're more in the middle of the sign. And you really do have that true half Scorpio, half Sagittarius kind of energy in that first house of yours. So, but you also have Pluto at 25 degrees in that first house, which gives you an intensity and a certain amount of magnetism. People are probably drawn to you when they meet you, and they might not know why.
Okay.
They might not even tell you because they might be intimidated. Like,
okay.
Like they're like, oh, she's really striking, or there's an energy there that is happening. Let me look at what else is going on in your chart. So you're in Aquarius, and the sun is at 28 degrees Aquarius, which is squaring that Pluto. And your sun's in the fourth house. So there's a focus on home and nurturing and making, like, homemaking in some way in your life. Whether that's I don't know if you're a mom or you are taking care of children or you're working domestically in some way. What? No?
She's a teacher.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, like, that's a very nurturing.
Perfect. I don't have kids. I have a dog, but I also
love kids.
It's like I teach, but then at the same time, like I'm very much a homebody. Like, I love to be at home. Like, if I'm not at work, I'm at home because I want to be in the bed.
I mean, that's like, yeah, I get it. Especially these days, bed is a pretty nice place.
Yeah.
I mean, I left a big city to move to the woods at just the right time, I feel like, because and I love cities. I love to travel, but like right now I'm like, maybe the bed in the woods is just fine.
The way to go. Yeah, it's the way to go.
Yeah. So let's see. So you've got a lot of energy in the sign of Capricorn, which is, so you've got Sagittarius starting at the cusp of your second house, which is education. So making money through education is a natural fit for you. But you have your midheaven in Leo. So do you specialize in art or something? Like, do you do a lot of arts and crafts? Like, I mean, are you
art.
a kindergarten teacher or like
I teach art in high school.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, like
I used to be in elementary school and now I'm in high school. So we do a lot of all kinds of stuff.
That's great.
And that's her degree and everything. Wow.
Awesome. I mean, that's what else would you like to know? Yeah, so Midheaven Leo, I wouldn't be surprised if that not this year, but next year and going on, there could be like a real opportunity for you career-wise. So we have Jupiter here. He's in your 8th house right now, which is all about like the taboo subjects. It's the house of Scorpio, but as a Scorpio rising, that this might feel sort of natural and sort of good to you. But Scorpio themes are death, which is transformation. It's also sex, taxes, inheritance, and other people's resources coming to you. So it's kind of this stuff that like happens to all of us, but we don't necessarily always feel comfortable talking about it. Mm-hmm. And Jupiter's been in this house for the last year or so. So have there been things that have just come up under that umbrella that have been kind of in neon, like themes and things you've been having to cope with or deal with on some level that you actually feel comfortable talking about? You don't have to tell me because this is a sort of public sphere, but like, and if you can just nod your head, but like it might not come up.
I feel like some of them, yes. I don't know. I feel like there's been like this past year that has been so, like the past year and a half has been like a lot of change, a ton of different things happening. And I could see a good amount of that falling under that umbrella.
So I would look at it as the house of transformation. Like it can also be, you know, literally all of the things I just said, death, sex, taxes, inheritance, but really it's transformation. And it's really intense and kind of, but there's something that can be invigorating about that. Maybe for somebody with a rising sign in Scorpio that can feel like this transformation is good. It's necessary. I needed this because some of this energy was really stagnant and, you know, nothing thrives being stuck or being still, right? But very, very soon, like tomorrow or the next day, Jupiter's going to tip over into your 9th house. And 9th house is the house that's ruled by Sagittarius. That's the other sign that's coloring that first house for you. That's international travel. That's higher education. That's philosophy. That's religion. And religion can also be spirituality, like New Age stuff. It can also be the house of publishing too. So there could be opportunities coming your way from this new Jupiter transit and some of that stuff that has been sort of coming up for you. Oh, hello. Hold on. I have a guest appearance.
Oh my God. Look at her.
I know.
She's so cute. Oh my gosh, she loves you so much. She's like, I need a kiss right now.
She's like, Mom, you've been talking.
She's so cute.
She is.
This is Pickle.
Pickle.
She's my sweet little old lady now, but she's starting to go blind and a little bit deaf, but she's still my baby. Thank you. I love you. So that's really exciting because the last year and a half while Jupiter's been going through that 8th house, especially when it hit your Mars, there was probably, and I can give you a date for that. Hold on one second. Let me give you a specific.
I'm curious.
Yeah, because it would have had to like big masculine energy or aggression. So let me see. 1 second.
This is so interesting.
This is crazy.
So it would have been July 18th would be when it was exact. Yeah. So what was going on like mid-July for you? And was there like either a big blow up, like a big fight or maybe an accident or like a man being rude in some way being involved.
Was this like this most recent July or last year's July?
It's a 2025, I think. Yeah. Yeah.
I can't really remember anything from
it might be later.
Summer, but that would definitely fit the mold for last summer.
Sure. Let's see. Yeah, it would have been this summer, July 18th. I can do this.
I'm look and see.
So that's where Jupiter was. And what else was going on?
I'm trying to think. I didn't really do a ton this summer because my poor little angel baby dog had to have surgery on his leg. So we just laid at home all summer.
Well, but your dog's a boy, right?
He is. I don't know that he's not really rude to me.
Okay.
But I guess he is the man of the house.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes
sorry, if you can hear the train. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I mean, I can't hear it, but
okay, good.
Oh, that's weird.
I would have to look back. I really can't.
And it might
remember, but I don't have the best memory anyways.
Sometimes these things come to you later on. You're like, oh my God, like
yeah,
it comes to you. But also like, if there isn't anything that's like really dramatic in some kind of way, that's actually a good sign. It's that like, I look at that as the universe saying, you're on your path. You don't have any lessons we need to like really shove in your face right now. You're doing what you need to be doing. So that's a good thing. If somebody wasn't listening to their intuition and wasn't really living, I'll just say like not in alignment with what they should be doing, that's when the universe tends to come and kick you in the butt. And like it's trying to get your attention, like that, like you need to change something about what you're doing or how you're doing it or the energy or the intentions behind what you're doing. So if there wasn't anything big, that's great. Actually, that's really good news. But I do think there's going to be some really, like, I swear Jupiter's going to end up in your 9th house by tomorrow because of, it's so close. Look, that's your cusp is at 21 degrees 58 minutes. Jupiter is here at 21 degrees 57 minutes. So like within hours, it's going to be in that house. And it might not be super dramatic, but it could just be like this light bulb moment for you in a way where you're like, oh, I'm really inspired to go learn something, or go on a trip.
So the one thing that is like caught my eye on this chart is like, I guess it would be the 2nd house. Is that right?
Down
what
here.
What are all these symbols that are like the same exact? It looks very chaotic. Like what is going on right there?
So we'll start at the top here. This is the North Node. So your North Node is in Sagittarius at 19 degrees. So that's sort of destiny when it comes to the way you're going to make money and earn your income and the values you place on that. That's in Sagittarius. Then you've got a bunch of stuff in the sign of Capricorn. So the first one here is Eros. Eros is an asteroid. It talks about how we like passion to be demonstrated to us. And Eros and Capricorn's kind of old-fashioned and sort of traditional in some ways. And then next to it is the part of fortune. So that means that fortune and good luck could come through a partner in some way. You also have your moon in Capricorn, and Neptune and Uranus are conjunct also in Capricorn at 20 degrees. So 20 degrees of Capricorn is a really like strong energy that could be really chaotic and sort of seductive for you. So I kind of wouldn't be surprised if you attracted Capricorn energy into your life in some ways. Okay. Especially with the moon in Capricorn. Like the moon in Capricorn can be a little bit like, so the moon is exalted in the sign of Cancer. And Capricorn is opposite and as far away from Cancer as you can get. So it's the moon in that sign, it's stable, but it also can have a hard time accessing its feelings sometimes. So what?
That's that's pretty true.
It's just like, we're like, if somebody has a moon in Cancer, they're like, oh, let's talk about it. Like, and they're super supportive. They're super sweet. And the moon in Capricorn isn't necessarily not sweet or supportive, but it's a little bit more like emotions can be burdensome, and let's really just focus on facts. And they're more comfortable in the world of facts and figures versus feelings. And that's not a judgment call. It's just the way that moon communicates its emotions. It's more comfortable in that place. As somebody who has an air sign moon, which your mom also has an air sign moon, air signs and earth sign moons tend to be, unless you have a Taurus moon, the Taurus moon people are just, they've got the best moon sign placement. Like their moon's exalted there. It's all about beautiful, predictable, emotional forecasting. But like air sign moons and earth sign moons, aside from Taurus, so Virgo moons and Capricorn moons also, they kind of have a hard time because it's more about facts. It's less emotional and more intellectual. And so like people who are letting their emotions really run the show can be a little off-putting. Like, and it's not necessarily a judgment call. Like it really does take all kinds of people to make this world go around. But when we look at things like compatibility or why we are the way we are, like this is kind of a roadmap to help us put language to things that we have been living and experiencing our whole lives, but might not have always been the best at articulating or talking about.
That's so cool.
That's crazy.
I know, right?
Yeah. So, but also like with the moon in the second house, you feel really secure with having a stable job, a stable income, something that's really predictable, even if it's not necessarily the most fulfilling thing intellectually. Sorry.
Interesting. Can I ask a question? I saw this on my chart too. I guess it's on everybody's chart, but maybe in different places. Down in the second house, near the end of the chart, the outer edge, there's something that looks like a MC. What is that?
So the MC is for the transiting chart here. It's the same as this arrow here. So it's saying right now, these are the transits for today. Like this is for earlier in the evening when we started at 7:35. But the midheaven at that point in time was at 5 degrees of Capricorn. And the midheaven changes. I can update the chart and you can kind of see now that the midheaven is now here. So it's based on where it's a mathematical formula that the chart automatically calculates, but your midheaven will never change. Your midheaven will always be 27 degrees of Leo, no matter what. Lindsay.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, and MC stands for medium coli, which is Latin, but for layman's terms, we say midheaven because it's the middle of the heavens.
Okay.
That's the most public-facing way that the universe, the world, society sees us. So people see you, Lindsay, as somebody who's really creative and vivacious and just full of artistic, creative flair. But I think that you're also probably working through some sort of inner wound. So through your art in some way. And I say that because we have the planet, or asteroid rather, it's not a planet, Chiron at 19 degrees of Leo in your 9th house. And Chiron, we all have Chiron somewhere, but in the sign of Leo, that's artistic expression, that's children, that's also love, like true love is ruled by the sign of Leo, because Leo rules the heart. So there could be themes of these kinds of things that are being worked out through your creative process, whether or not you're aware of it, but you might be aware of it.
I don't know.
No.
That's just wild. I don't know.
Well, it's something that when we look at transits over a period of time and things activate Chiron, then you can start to draw the threads out more and more. But it's one of those things that's a little bit more advanced in astrology, that kind of like, it took me a while to, my Chiron is in Gemini, and since I'm a Sagittarius, Gemini is directly opposite from my sun sign, and I have had historically, I've had some issues with Gemini people and Gemini events in my life. So maybe there's actually people who were Leos in some way that were triggering in some manner also. Is certainly a potential.
That's interesting how you can tie in that, like how you're interacting with other people or how they affect you, impact you. That is so wild. Now it makes me want to get everybody in my family's chart.
Well, I'm available.
I'm telling you, because I can see so much.
Yeah. And
how it's helped me understand myself. And
yeah.
I can see that interacting with other people, knowing these things about myself, would make it much easier for me in some relationships.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, I think astrology is profoundly underutilized in the West. I mean, in the East, we have Vedic astrology, which is a different system entirely than what I practice, but I really respect what they do, because they look at astrology as being useful on every forefront of their life.
Wow.
And because the system is different, it's still a system, you know, there's still a way of understanding the planetary bodies and the symbolism behind things, but it works for them because it's systematic. Why astrology works is because it's a system, and it's a really beautifully orchestrated system that repeats and evolves over and over and over again. But so there are some things that are cyclical on a yearly basis, like the sun is in Libra now, or every 3-4 months we've got Mercury retrograde, and there's these things that we can sort of plan on a smaller short-term basis, but then we can also look at longer term things as well. And I think that actually, going back to the beginning of our conversation, making astrology a 2-bit form of entertainment in newspaper columns has actually done it a huge disservice.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you say? Oh, go ahead, Lindsay.
No, I was just saying I agree. It kind of like it was like, it's fun on the surface, but like it really cheapens it, because it's like so much more than, oh, you might come into contact with a handsome stranger today. You know what I mean? Like it's so much more than that.
I mean, there's definitely days where that could be true for somebody, but like there's also, I think the real value comes from being open to doing the inner work, because when you do the inner work of understanding yourself in the context of what's going on in the world and the cosmos outside of yourself, that's when you just start to make peace with who you are, regardless of what's going on. And then I think once you do that, like, your vibration shifts and doors start to open, and there's just things that happen that are sort of honestly magical. And there's no other way of describing it. I mean, that's just my takeaway from it. And I know that other people would be like, oh, it's demonic, or it's this, or it's that. But it's being open to self-reflection and whispers and nudges from the universe. And if you are aware of what the planets are doing and how they affect your chart, then you can be aware that you might actually be getting messages. Like there are moments when we're more attuned to getting psychic intuition or nudges from spirit guides than we are other times, you know, and all of us have that ability.
Right. And that's the perfect answer to the question I was going to ask you. What do you say to people who think that, oh, there's no way that the planets and the stars and sun and all that can affect what's going on here with me? But you laid it out there pretty perfectly.
Well, talk to any ER nurse. On a full moon, the ER is more full than any other day of the month.
Lindsay was actually born on the night of a full moon. And when we got to the hospital, there were like 13 birthing rooms in that hospital. I was the only one there, 6:30 p.m. in the evening, only one there. As the night progressed, every room filled up. There was one doctor, 2 nurses for all of these women having babies. Oh, yeah, I believe it. I believe it.
Oh my gosh.
But,
and none of them have the same birth chart as you, most likely. I mean, unless there was somebody born at the same exact minute that you were born.
Yep, I don't think so.
It's always been so odd to me, too, that people like knock it and say that, you know, like, oh, you're putting all this stock into letting the planets rule your life. But it's like the moon affects our planet so much. How could other planets not? You know, it's crazy to me. Also, like, it's fun. Why not? Why not do it?
I mean,
why not look into it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, like, there's a part of me that's 2 things, right? If the moon affects the tides, and the tides are water, and our bodies are what, 75% water?
Yeah.
How can it not affect us? But also,
go ahead.
Like to the flip side of that same coin, though, like I do know that spiritual psychosis is a real thing, and you have to be able to know when to step away from astrology and from divination and from the occult practices, whatever it is, to be objective about facts and be objective about reality as it exists now too, because it takes both. It really truly is. Like, I mean, I'm all for manifesting an abundant, aligned life, but there's also a very practical side of reality that has to be practically addressed on the 3D plane in order for you to be able to create a stable platform for abundance to come in. Because if your life is just totally chaos all the time, your cup is too porous to hold the things that you want to manifest.
I like that. Yeah, it sounds like the best fit is the balance between the two.
Yeah. And it's always about balance. And that's what astrology is. It's every house is balanced out. Every sign is balanced out. Every planet is balanced out by something else, you know? And that's one thing that attracts me to it, is that it's a perfect system. It really, truly is. The only things that are imperfect are us and our calendar. Our calendar used to be perfectly aligned with the cycles of the moon, and it no longer is. There used to be 13 months, 13 moons, and it all made sense. But like, there's no reason February needs to have 28 days, 27 days, or whatever.
Exactly.
Like when other months have 30, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like there should be 13 months that all have the exact same number of days, and they align with the lunar cycles, and that just flows so much better. But
yeah,
that just makes so much more sense.
Well, I definitely, I'll be visiting your website and setting up an appointment, because I'm so interested in this. And like you said, for me, I think it's so that I can do the inner work, and be more enlightened about myself and how I interact with the world and with other people and in my relationships. And I think it's going to be very helpful. Right now, I've just skimmed barely the surface, so I see visually that there's so many more layers than I thought there were. And so, yeah, whew, this has been really great. I appreciate you coming on. And tell our listeners once again, like how they can follow you on socials and get on your website and set up an appointment.
So I kind of hate social media, and I blame my career as being in marketing and doing social media and making television for a living for so long. I kind of hate social media, but I do have social media. You can follow me on Blood Moon Milk. It's all one word on Instagram. I do have a TikTok. It's Blood Moon Milk Astrology. But the thing that I'm most consistent with is the daily dose. If you want to know what I think about what's going on with astrology, sign up for the daily dose. It'll go to your inbox Monday through Friday. It lands there 6 a.m. Eastern every day. Friday is the weekend edition. If you would like to set an appointment with me or sign up for the daily dose, you can head over to bloodmoonmilk.com, and I'd be happy to see you.
That's awesome. And we will definitely promote that out on our socials and the show notes of the episode too, so that we can send people your way, because we love promoting our guests in any way we can. So thank you again so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. It's been enlightening. It's been mind-blowing.
Well, thank you so much. The pleasure is all mine. And again, thanks for being here. Like I said earlier, really,
we're all together here in this little
truly.
So, but anyway, Lindsay, will you take us out and tell our listeners, where they can find more about sirens?
Yes. So, and I don't know if it'll show up with the way I've got the screen set up, but if you want to reach out to us, you can email us at sirensofthesupernatural@gmail.com, or you can find us on socials. We're Instagram. What else are we on? Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at Sirens of the Supernatural, but then on TikTok, it's a little different. We are at Supernatural Sirens. So check us out anywhere you can. Give Aurorah a check out too. Go to her website, maybe schedule an appointment, because this has been so interesting. I love this kind of stuff.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a true joy.
Thank you for coming on.
And we wish you all the best.
Yes. All right, guys, stay spooky, and we will see you again next week. Bye.
Bye.